The sky was torn apart with earned. A meteor shower started falling to the earth like heavy rain. The most perverted people history has ever seen were about to be destroyed with fiery stones. They had become spoiled with wealth and so far in sexuality that they started doing things never done before, for their pleasure. They raped men, enslaved them, and then killed them for years. A prophet was sent to call them to the right path, and to leave these perversions. Lut. But they did not stop and eventually they even set a big trap for him together with his wife. Finally, Allah sent his angels in the form of handsome men. When they tried to attack and rape them, the punishment became certain. And at that moment, fiery stones rained down. The earth shook and began to swallow them. Some were caught in the act of sin, and their bodies turned into stone. The punishment fell upon them like a heavy darkness. They sank so deep that the place became the lowest point on earth. The Quran foretold this 1400 years ago, and science later confirmed it. What was left of them was stone bodies with shocking expressions on their If you are ready, you will now watch the terrifying destruction story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Before moving to the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on notifications. This way you won't miss our next videos. In the 1800s BCE, in the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, there lived a people who were very rich and had everything they wanted. This place is located in Syria, between today's Palestine and Jordan, but even now, strange and frightening sounds are heard there by visitors. In this region, which is the lowest place on earth, the curse of the people of Lut still continues. In the Lut lake found in the area, no living creature or plant can survive, and even the radiation levels are unusually high. This muddy lake is also called the Dead Sea. This land, covering an area of 600 kilometers, lies about 430 meters below sea level. Maybe it remained this low because it sank, along with the people who once lived there. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah were wild and immoral. They committed all kinds of immoral acts never seen in earlier nations. Their population was about 500,000 people. Most of them openly lived homosexuals in front of everyone. Their feeling of shame and privacy was lost. They even mocked the few who still kept their honor. The sexual acts they did in public were sometimes not even consensual. They raped others, and for the powerful and the rich, this became ordinary. Perversion became institutionalized and turned into a lifestyle. They even encouraged others to do the same. Homosexual marriages were performed. They lived in the same houses, held parties, and organized competitions for sexual acts. They played very frightening games, sometimes ending in death. One of these games was played on young male guests coming from outside the city. It was a stone game. The people of Sodom, holding stones in their hands, would throw them at the new. In the city, whoever's stone hit the guest first, that person would rape him. This became their tradition. Welcome guests. The immorality of Tarajin was beyond imagination. And of course they didn't only play Thesa games with outsiders, but also with Thuic among themselves. When the wildest of them wanted to kill someone, they would first order that he be raped, torture him, and then kill him. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah silenced Anion, who tried to stop them. When they saw good people, they would say, Lethias, leave from among us. In the Quran, it is stated as Belyamadal, meaning they had fallen even lower than Allah. Prophet Lut was sent at such an extraordinary time of evil. He was tasked with calling this perverted people to guidance. In the Quran, Allah describes him as an honorable prophet who was favored over all the world's best he was fighting against. Create morality. Imagine having to go to a place you wouldn't even want to pass by, living there, and warning them. This waste sacrifice Lut made, even if he had to stand against 500,000 people, hesitated to convey the truth. Day and night, he tried for their awakening, but while struggling alone, there was no Oneto help Lut. Although he was the nephew of Ibrahim, he stayed apart from his uncle Bekaza, was sent to Sodom and Gomorrah. Only his wife and 2 daughters were with him, but soon even his wife would betray him. The intense struggle and efforts of Lut are described in the Quran as follows. Their brother Lut said to them, "Will you not fear Allah? Know that I am a trustworthy messenger sent to you, so fear Allah and obey me. I do not ask you for any payment for this. My word is only with the Lord of through worlds. Do you leave the wives your Lord created for you, and go to men instead? Truly, you are a people who have gone beyond all limits and become perverted." Lut is described in the books as a prophet of medium height, fair skin, a beautiful face, and a pleasant smile. His profession was farming. He was devoted to worship, generous, patient, unrighteous in his struggle. He was also hospitable and loved to host guests. Allah also says in the Quran, "And as for Lut, we gave him wisdom, judgment, prophethood, kingship, and knowledge. We saved him from the town that used to do shameful deeds. Truly, they were a wicked people who did evil. We admitted him into our mercy, for he was among Therites." The people of Sodom began to deny Lut's message and rejected his call. Thereupon Lut told them about the seriousness of their immorality. He said to them, "Are you committing a shameful act that no one in the world has ever done before you?" He warned them that their evil actions would lead them to disaster, but they tried to drive Lut out of their land. The response of his people was nothing but expel Lot and his followers from your town. They are people who want to remain clean, remaining pure. Living with honor and chastity was considered akram in the eyes of this wild and immoral people. Since filth was their spiritual food, they were disturbed by Clean people and threatened. Luti, if you do not stop this call, Yah will surely be among the exiled. Lut reminded them of Allah's punishment, as described in the Quran. Indeed, Lut warned them of our severe punishment, but they doubted these warnings. They did not understand the horror of the calamity that was to come and did not care about the divine threat. With arrogance and disgrace, they said to Lut, "If you are truthful, then bring us the punishment of Allah," and did not give up their perversion. This was now the beginning of the end. When the angels of punishment set out to destroy the people of Lut, they first visited Ibrahim, but Ibrahim did not know they were angels. He welcomed them with hospitality, as it is an important tradition among prophets to honor guests. He immediately had a calf prepared and placed it before them, but the angels did not eat the offering. This caught Ibrahim's attention and he felt something strange inside. Wondering why they didn't eat, he looked at them. At that moment, the angels revealed their identity and said, "O Ibrahim, we are angels, sent by Allah. We have been sent to punish the people of Lut." When Ibrahim heard that the angels would destroy the people of Lut, he said, "But Lut is there," and became very his dear nephew. That good man had tread so hard for his people, but time was up. The angels had descended, and they would soon go there. Tears filled Ibrahim's eyes, and he swallowed hard. Ibrahim was more than just a prophet. He was also a great friend, and he felt deep sorrow for Lut. Once Lut had stood by Ibrahim, supporting his call, and together they had fought a great battle of faith. Now, Ibrahim showed the same loyalty and love for Lut. This story is filled with deep wisdom, showing the friendship between Allah's prophets, their mutual loyalty and faithfulness, and how mercy and divine justice come to pass. The destruction of the people of Lut. Lut, under very harsh conditions, struggled for 40 years, according to one, but the oppression and immorality of his people had reached an unbearable level. The people of Sodom remained indifferent to the punishment of Allah, and even went so far as atonement it, making themselves fully deserving of severe punishment. Lut faced with this desperate situation, took refuge in his Lord, and asked him for help. He prayed to Allah, "My Lord, save me and my family from what they do. My Lord, help me against this corrupt group." For years, he had worked for the happiness and guidance of his people, but only very few along with his 2 daughters believed in him. Even his wife sided with the wicked people. Therefore, this prayer was his last resort. Allah sent angels to destroy the people of Lut. Even though these angels came in form of young men, their appearance weakened the wicked desires of the people they tried to hurt. This incident is described in the Quran as follows. When our messengers came to Lut, he was distressed for them and felt worried for them. He said, "This is a difficult day." When Lut saw the angels in the form of young men, he thought they were feared that his people would harm them, as mentioned in Surah Arafes 80 and 81. Sexual perversion was widespread among the disbelievers of his people. The people of Lut ran to him. They had already been committing those vile acts. Lut said, "O my people, here are my marry them, for they are pure for you. Fear Allah and do not disgrace him concerning my guests. Is there not a single sensible man among you?" According to some scholars, when Lut said, "my daughters," he meant the daughters of his people, not his own 2 daughters, since a prophet is considered spiritual father of his people. But blind and maddened people of Sodom replied, "You know we have no claim to your daughters. You know well what won't, Lut said. If only I had the power to resist you, or could take refuge in a strong fortress. The Prophet Muhammad (Allah.aiiiua) was mentioning what Lut said to his people explained. May Allah have mercy on Lut. He was indeed taking refuge in a strong place, his Lord. By the blessing of this prayer of Lut, Allah granted all prophets after him, kinsmen and supporters. The angels then said, O Lut, we are messengers of your Lord. They cannot touch you. Leave during part of the night with your family, and let none of you look back and accept your wife. Surely what will happen to them will also happen to her. Their appointed time for destruction is the morning. Is the morning not near? They said. The wicked crowd attacked Lut's door one last time, but suddenly all of them were struck blind. The Quran reports this truth as follows. By my might, they asked for Lut's guests, so we blinded their eyes. Taste now my punishment and my warnings. According to Fakhruddin al-Razi, one of the angels was Jibril. When the mob broke down the door and entered, Gabriel struck them all blind with one movement. In their panic, they could not even find the door to escape. Lut even took them by their arms and them out. Because the people of Lut committed the great sin of LGT and others remained silent about this injustice. Allah first struck them with a terrifying sound that deafened their ears. Then the sky split open and Terrigen was struck by a meteor space. But this was not just random stones. Each stone was aimed at something specific, and the stones rained down for hours. No one could escape them. They entered homes and destroyed everything. Thus, the destruction and erasure of this great nation of 500,000 people from history became possible through these meteor stones. Allah declared that He left this as a lesson for later people. Indeed, in this are signs for those who learn. They are still on a path that is visible today. Surely, in this is a sign for those who bet. In Surah Ankabut 35, it is stated that clear signs were left after the destruction of this immoral people, so that later nations could take a lesson. Indeed, we left there a clear sign for people who use their reason. These signs have been explained as theories about what happened to the destroyed people, the ruins of their towns, the stones that rained from the sky, and the dark rivers that flowed afterward. Lut Lake, and the miracle of the Quran. Allah orders people to take lessons from the destruction of the people of Luton, states that the ruins of destroyed nations were left as a warning in the clear signs carried by Lut Lake are truly remarkable. The geological condition of the land around Lut Lake is as striking as the events that took place there. The surface of the lake is 430 meters below sea level, making it the lowest point on Earth. The deepest point of the lake itself is more than 350 meters below its surface. In other words, the deepest point of Lut Lake is about 800 meters below the surface of sea level. In the rest of the world, the lowest points are no more than about 100 meters below sea level. It is as if even the structure of the land reflects the lowness of the people of Lut. Moreover, in Surah Ram 3, this area is referred to as the lowest land on earth. Indeed, when modern technology examined the lowest place on earth, it was confirmed to be the basin of Lut Lake, as pointed to in the verse. Since it was impossible for the people at the time of the Quran's revelation to know such a geological fact, this truth is one of the scientific proofs that the Quran is truly the word of Allah. Another feature of Lut Lake is that its salt level is around 30%. Therefore, no fish or plants can live in it. This is why it is also called the Dead Sea. The fact that even animals cannot live in this cursed place is another lesson. The lake, black as pitch and spreading foul odor, seems to present the sins committed around it to humanity through its appearance. In 1965, during excavations by American archaeologists, more than 20,000 tombstones were identified in the area. They even found remains resembling patriarch humans. If you look at the videos and photos, they truly look very much like people. Among those remains is said to be another human-like stone thought to be Lut's wife, Wahilo. In 1947, a Jordanian shepherd who lost his goat discovered a cave. Inside he found many strange things, including about 40,000 Hebrew and Aramaic manuscripts. The events of this cursed nation, as described in the Quran, are estimated to have happened around 1800 BCE. The ruins of the cities sank into the ground due to the divine punishment. After the punishment, Prophet Lut and his family Lut had two daughters. One of his daughters was named Rasa or Risa Anthi, other was Razia or leader. During the destruction of the people of Lut, they left Sodom with their father and their believers and were saved from Allah's punishment. Later, Lut went with his daughters to Ibrahim married one of these daughters to his son Midian, and the people of Midian descended from them. The death of Prophet Lut. It is not known how long Prophet Lut lived after the destruction of his people, or exactly where he died. According to one narration, his grave is near the village of Beni Naim, east of Hebron in Palestine. The life of Prophet Lut is marked in human history as a story of struggle written with faith, patience, and determination. His determination to convey the divine commands and call people to the right path, even to a society deeply corrupted in immorality, became a symbol of his prophetic mission. Prophet Lut was both a warner to his own people and a lesson for the future. The hardships he endured light the importance of faith and morality in human life, and his story shows how divine justice manifests. Islamic view on LGBTI issues. LGBTI has remained one of the main topics of moral debate even in the period of our world in the last 20 to 30 years is the one that most assembles the people of Lut in world history. Since the 1970s, the number of people in the West openly declaring their sexual orientation has increased greatly. The LGBTI movement in the world has begun to turn into a kind of sexual fanaticism. In 1973, for the first time, the American Psychiatric Association declared that this was a right and not a disease. The president of the association, Robert Spitzer, but in those days, LGBTI themselves protested this decision, saying, "Why did you take away our right to be treated?" and marched because there were people who wanted to be cured of this condition, and preventing those who were uncomfortable with it from seeking treatment while institutional. It was heavily debated at the time. The president of the association even considered rose his steps, but lobbies did not allow it. The reason for the lobby's refusal was of course this sector. Look at the places where LGBT is prominent. You will see two things are also very intense there: alcohol and drugs and the industry. People cannot discuss this because LGBTI is portrayed as a symbol of freedom. Thus, anyone who voices an opposing view is accused of being bigoted and anti-freedom. Yet, if freedom of expression exists, then this topic cannot be untouchable like a taboo. Both sides should be able to express their opinions. In other words, those who want to spread LGBT have every kind of power. They use movies, books, music, artists, series, and actors. In a magazine aimed at 7-year-olds, a story said, "I can't meet you today because I'm going to have a surgery," referring to gender change in a children's story. If you look at the toys, you'll see girl to girl, marriage dolls, boy to boy, marriage dolls. Look at some of the hadiths of our prophets, all Allah.ai was. When Imam Hassan was brought to him wrapped in a yellow cloth, he said, "What is this yellow color?" Showing even subtle messages about how life and upbringing shape people. Notice how it all started with colors. They began by saying there's no thing as blue being a boy's color, because this has turned into a sector and a lobby. They try to make it appear innocent. Just like the people of Lut, they encourage people. This is freedom itself, trying to make it attractive, propagating it in many Netflix films, and they try every way so that people normalize and make this pathetic. In this respect, they resemble people of Lut. If you pay attention to their propaganda, their coercive attitudes are similar. And just like the people of Lut, bullied and threatened, toxpul,